on Trill TV. We have a great guest. We have Jamil Williams, and he's an author. He's come out with a whole series of books coming out, and you have your own publishing company, CBM Publishing?
Yes, Casual Business Moves Publishing.
All right, okay. So now why did you decide to call it Casual Business Moves?
Well, you know, I feel like at this stage, man, everything you should do is casual. When I dress casual, man, I try to interact casually, man. And at business, you know, I'm all about business and moves. Hey, you always got to make moves. If you're not moving, then you're standing still and you're being stuck. So Casual Business Moves just seemed like a great time.
So now what made you want to become an author? Were you always interested in writing growing up, or is that something that you picked up later in life?
So, you know, I was always into writing, but I wouldn't say that I wanted to be an author right away. I think that, you know, it's ironic, I went to jail and I wrote a lot of jail letters, so that kind of got me into the swing of just writing and just, you know, interacting with people. And I noticed that I had a knack for writing long letters, and I took to writing. I felt like I had an interesting story, so,
wow.
You know, that's why I became an author.
Nice. So now, I know you do a lot in the community, like with
Right.
prison reform, and, you know, obviously that you came from that experience. What was that like, being incarcerated for a while?
Well, like anybody, man, you know, no one likes being locked up. It's something that, you know, is stressful, and it's a hard time, but not only for you, man, but your family as well. So, you know, I just wanted to make a transition while I was in jail and come back and have something to give back to the community with. So, you know, that was my take on doing time, and I always felt like I was going to come back.
Yeah, you did. So now, from what I understand, you spent a few years incarcerated, but then did you get out early or something? Did anything
So
work out in
I
your
was
favor?
actually sentenced to natural life. That's you die in jail. So I did 12 years. I did 5 years. I flipped my case. I did another 7 years awaiting trial. So I did 12 altogether, and I ended up copping to manslaughter. But that's something I didn't have to do. I kind of did that, you know, for family. But yeah. You know, 12 years, long time.
That is a long time.
Right.
The system is rough, and a lot of times people have to plea out or whatever they need to do to order to get released. So, but I appreciate what you're doing in the community.
Right.
And so now I know that you were very well versed, like in law. Did you pick that up while you were locked up, or
well,
before that?
I actually helped a lot of people while I was locked up, man, on their cases. I was someone that, you know, could see things that other people can't see, man. And yeah, I not only worked on law, but there's, you know, the people that convicted me, they didn't fare well in their job, so you know, they lost their job. So, you know, I'm very well graded in law.
Wow, so you were able to do that. You were really able to flip that. Wow.
I would flip it in, you know, the DA is no longer the DA.
Oh, okay. All right. That's great, because not very many people can do that. And I know from experience. I had a nephew that was like illegally arrested, and things didn't turn out so well for him. So you're very blessed.
Well, I get calls all the time of parents with their kids being locked up, and they're looking for advice, or they're looking for lawyers. And I'm somebody that helps everybody, man. So I try to lead them the right way, as well as, you know, just talk to the youth while they're in there and try to transform their minds so they have something to come out here for. So, you know, I'm a little bit of both, man. I'm a mentor on the streets, man, but I'm also, you know, a strong backbone for them in the jail. So, right.
That's amazing. So that's great that you were able to make that transition, and that you can give back and really help people, because a lot it's rough, you know, in our community it happens a lot. You know?
Right.
You know, it happens a whole lot. So I see you have 3 books here.
Right.
You're just cranking out the books one after the other. So how did you get started though with your own publishing company? Was that difficult to get that started?
I've never really worked for anybody in my life but myself. So, man, everything I do is about, you know, self-ownership, man, about, you know, building from the ground up. So I had no idea about what it took to run a publishing company, what it took to start one. You know, I started like everybody else, man. I did my research. I was able to find ways, cut corners, and basically build a brand with it. So I released 3 books, Wrong Turn Right, Source of Information, and my newest edition, Fantasy of Passion. So the first 2 editions are about my life story. So It has a lot of the stories in there. Maybe, you heard about Paul Pierce getting stabbed in TD Garden. You heard about the Rough Riders beef at TD Garden, as well as us traveling with the Source magazine and Benzino. So I've been there, I've done that. I've been, it covers like 7 different states. A little bit of everything. Fantasies of Passion, 13 short stories, all made up, different characters, and a little something spicy, man, for the bedroom.
That's what's up. What made you? That's great that you're very versatile. You can write about street life, or you can write about anything. How long did it take you to say to write one book?
So I released Wrong Turn Right and Source of Information at the same time. I wrote both of them within like a year's time. It took me more, I would say, a process of setting up the company. Fantasies of Passion, I was probably finished in like a month and a half, 2 months, and then a little bit of time for editing and stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of cranking them out. I'm actually doing Fantasy of Passion Part 2 at the same time of doing Part 3 to the trilogy of the first 2 books.
Oh, okay.
So that's a trilogy, yes.
Yeah. All right. So there's going to be a follow-up to Wrong Turn Right and the Source.
Right. So
okay.
I think the next book coming out will be Ronnie Quall's 362 Building. Great author. He has 3-4 books of his own. He did 28 years, I believe, and was exonerated. And now he's ready to come forward. Also, we're working on Ghost Riders for my other artist, Sean Ellis. Everybody knows from Trill 4. He's in the work. So we're in the mix of putting his life story together. CBN, man, we're working.
Nice. So would you say you draw on real life a lot in your writing?
Well, I think Fantasies of Passion, I kind of did my own thing. I kind of, took it from there and just, used my imagination. I wanted to do that for the viewers, man. Just, show them a different side of me. Show them something that, I am a writer. So,
yeah.
Right,
so you're not like a one-trick pony. You don't
right,
about one thing. I think that's great. So when you were in prison, you just wrote a lot? Did you start just writing down your thoughts, or did you write stories?
I would just, I used to write a lot of letters.
Okay.
Ladies used to write me, I write them back. But see, I was the type to write like 3-page letters back and forth.
Oh, okay.
So I could never just, write a normal letter, man. For me, I couldn't, get my thoughts out with just a couple of words.
Right.
So, that's something, and a lot of people know my story, and they used to tell me, listen, you have a powerful story. You need to tell your story. And I was like, one day I will. So.
Wow, that's great. Now, I know you also have like a podcast going on right now, right? What's that called?
So I was doing 100 authors, man, where I interview other authors, man. I also have a sex talk show on Facebook, man, live. We're on episode 6, man. Ladies love it. Usually when I get off, before I get off, I have over 400 comments of the fans just, interacting with me. And it's a little something for everybody, man, but it kind of reflects the book, man, and what ladies' thoughts are in the bedroom. Okay.
So you feel like you really are good at expressing the female perspective as well?
Well, I think like every guy, man, should know, a lady's body. So I feel like I'm well versed in what it takes to please a lady, and I'm also looking for tips. So that's why I go on the show and they just pour in stories that I'm like, sometimes I'm amused, sometimes I'm like, I need to try that. So you know.
Okay, so I'm sure you got very good response from all your books. What do you think? What you think is probably like the most popular of all your books? You think?
I can't really tell because I get like different feedback from everybody, man. Like, I actually thought Source of Information would be the biggest one because it contains like all the rap stars in the industry. So I figured, okay, they would want to hear a little juice on this, a little spice on that. But a lot of people have taken to the Wrong Turn Right because it tells the bottom ground of how I came up. I think a lot of people are interested in the story of, what made me become a thug, and then what made me transition from a thug to a gentleman. So, I think, it's a transition, and so that's why Part 3 is so important.
Okay. So now, can you tell us right now, in your own words, what do you think made you transition like that?
I think being caught up in the game, man. As young and growing up, we're just so focused on the here and now and what's going on in the neighborhood. A lot of times, I say it all the time. A lot of times, the people that you're warring with you'll probably be cool with them if you was to go over there and spend some time with them. It's just being in different neighborhoods, you just have a hatred for people that are not around you. So I came to a realization that I was fighting against my fellow brothers. You see what I'm saying? And that at the end of the day, that there was more to life than just a street corner. It was more to life than just claiming a block. And it's really about the family. It's about the foundation of growing in the legacy that you leave. What do you want to leave behind? And I didn't want to leave behind just destruction and hate. So I changed my ways.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so with your second book, The Source. Okay, why did you title it The Source, and what is that all about?
So source of information. The first book is like when I go to 18. Second book is from 18 to 25 when I get locked up. But that's about the time that I was traveling with the Source magazine, that I was in connection with Benzino, that we was amongst the stars and doing a lot of things. So I call it the source of information because a lot of the stories have to deal with the source or have to deal with entertainment. Of course, I was still in the streets and still running Boston, but yeah, that's source of information because it has a lot of details about the industry.
Cool, cool. So I'm sure a lot of people are definitely interested in that. And you have a follow-up to that, too? There's going to be a follow-up?
So it's a trilogy. So like I said, the first one is to age 18. It basically outlines the growth and what made me decide to be in a gang. The second one, we're making money. We're doing things. We're traveling the world. We're having fun, and then it's erupted with an indictment for murder. So the third book is actually details me while I'm in jail, fighting my case, and ultimately being convicted, and what I had to do to overcome that obstacle and the mind state I was going through while incarcerated.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. So imagine while you were incarcerated, did you get a lot of support from your family and friends during that time?
Well, I have to say, I'm pretty much, man. I've been a link from old to young, so I've been the guy that's always cool with everybody, man. But jail in particular, man, you lose people.
Yeah.
It's a groundbreaker, man. It's something that when you go in, you're gonna have to face, all kind of obstacles. You're gonna have to face adversity. You're gonna have to face disappointment and losing your loved ones, man. People that you thought would have your back, man, you never hear from again. So that comes with jail, and that's something that you adapt to, and it's something hopefully you use to better your life and not want to go back there.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I think do you think that things in Boston, you think they've gotten any better over the years since that time period, or worse, or do you think it's about the same?
Well, people don't understand that we have some of the best, government run in Boston. Me personally, I've been to almost all the cities, and I can really say that our structured government is by far one of the best in the country. So, when the rest of the country was suffering from depression and the money issues, we was good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had steady jobs. We was basically hovering around the unemployment rate and not bad. So I would say things have always been great in Boston. As far as the violence and all that, the youth have so much they have so much access and so much things to gain from today's world.
Right.
Right now you might have 40, 50 murders in Boston. I grew up in a time where we're having 150, 160 a year.
Yeah.
I grew up at a time where shootings were triple. I grew up at a time where, the incarceration rate was flying through the roof, and there was a lot of corruption. I think that, Boston as a whole has done a lot to clean up, even in the police force. You know, I think,
That's good.
of course, there's going to be bad apples, but I feel like Boston has always been underneath the radar as far as, you know, having the big issues. You know what I mean, with the issues with the cops. And I've been the one that had firsthand issues with cops.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
I've experienced the stuff that people are fighting for and all that. I've had those injustices happen to me. I've had, you know, people throw illegal charges on me and all that stuff. But at the same time, I can say things a lot better. And not all cops are bad. So,
Right.
you know, you got good and bad, just like you have good and bad, you know, people in the street.
Right. Exactly. So can I ask you, how do you feel about like this movement about maybe like defunding the police or people? How do you feel about that? You know.
Honestly speaking, I'm gonna be real. If you defund the police, who do you have to police the hood?
Right. That's what.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
Speaking,
Right.
Honestly speaking, me personally, I know how I was out in the street, and if you take away the law, like it was just okay. Then now you're just opening everything. You're just opening everything to just being crazy, and then it's like there has to be some protection for the grandmothers.
True. Very
there
true.
has to be some protection for the young kids. There has to be some protection and some you know line of protection for the people that are not in the game.
Yeah.
So, do I think the police are overboard? I mean, of course, that shows you know in the stats. Do I think that we caused some of the stuff? Of course. I know me. I used to cause everything that came my way. Would I say at the end that it was my fault? No. You know, I'm going to blame everybody else. Like, listen. But I knew what I was getting into. So even though the injustices I did face with the police, I was doing so much dirt that I was just like, that's just a drop of the bucket of them, you know. It's part of the game. It's been happening. If you jump in the game, you have to understand that you're not playing by the rules. So how you expect everybody else to play by the rules? You see what I'm saying? So it's like it has to be a border. Now, if you're beating on blacks and you're doing all that stuff, that right there has to totally stop. That right there, there's no understanding for that.
Right.
But you can't complain about a legal search, man. You know what I mean? If you smoking, you know what I mean? If you running around smoking weed and just prior to that, then you just showing the gun out the window. You know what I mean? Like that shit happens. Man. You know what I mean? I never complained about that, but yeah.
That's good to hear your perspective on that. Someone that's actually you know been on both sides and honest perspective. Cool. So I know like you're really like I would say inspiration to a lot of young people out here. What do you think about that? To mentor young people?
I don't really try to be an inspiration, man. I feel like I'm like ground level with the street.
Okay.
I feel like I've lived the life that they're living, man. I can probably give them some good tips on avoiding the pitfalls that I made. And that's actually like after I'm done with all these books, those are gonna be the ones that I gravitate towards, like self-taught books, man. Something to avoid the pitfalls of even coming into the game, man. Because everybody I grew up with, man, whether they was square or thug, man, back in the days, we got all the glory, we got all the hype, but we was the ones going to jail. We was the ones that was sitting there, you know, not getting a dime, or you know, we lose our girlfriends when we go to jail. Like that's what happens. You see what I'm saying? And the guys that were squares, they went in, they went to school, had successful jobs, you know, built cribs. I came home and they was by far ahead of me.
Right.
And I was the guy in the game when I growing up, man, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the stores on Blue Hill Ave, man. Like that's how we lived. Like we lived in a lifestyle, but in the end game is all that counts. Where you stand 20 years from now, it's not about what you do today. It's not what you do tomorrow. It's about what are you going to be 20 years from now, man? What are you going to have from now, man, that you built from today? You see what I'm saying? So that's where we lost that. We had hundreds of thousands, and we was in the game stealing millions. And we have documented proof, like they were like, those guys were big. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we didn't have the mind state in where we needed to go and take that money to grow with it. So
Right.
that's what it's about, man. Just growing. Okay, well, as always, man, I just came out with my new edition, Fantasies of Passion, 13 erotic short stories, a little something for everything. If you haven't heard, I have Wrong Turn Right and Source of Information, 2 explosive books that have gravitated throughout the city. Everybody's taken in. I have 5-star reviews on every platform. So, come get with me, Jay Williams. We're trying to do things for the hood. I give back a lot, and I ask you to support me and just, look out for me, and I'm going to look out for you, as always.
That's what's up. And also, now these are also available at Frugal Bookstore, am I right?
Yes, I've sold out of Frugal Bookstores many times, man, so go there. This one right here is a limited edition book cover. It's a little bit too racy for the stores, as you see. So, you gotta go. It's like The Secret. Go into Frugal and whisper. I want fantasy of passion. Boom! It'll come out the back room. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
Of course, it's gonna be a big seller, just like the rest, man. And yeah, I sell them exclusively by myself on Frugal Bookstore, and I just got it on Kindle. So
Nice.
you got Kindle Unlimited on Kindle. Go check it out.
Right. Thank you so much, Ricardo, for coming on Trill TV. I'm definitely getting one of these. I don't know which one I'm gonna get.
I am honored to be on your show. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing your progress, man, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you everyone for tuning into Trill TV. Support this man, Ricardo Williams, and you know where to find me. Yeah, you know where to find me. Trill TV. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
And cheer.
All right, see, I got my exclusive autograph copy of Wrong Turn Right, and I'm going to pick up the rest of them too. So everybody, check out
Fantasies of Passion and Source Information. Wrong Turn Right Part 1, Part 2, and right now the exclusive, the one that's heating up the bedrooms, Fantasies of Passion, 13 erotic short stories. So there you go, your author Jay Williams, CBM Publishing, and we out of here. Cheers.